What did your parents do for a living?
My mom, she's a nurse. She's a nurse. Currently, right now, I think she's like a nurse supervisor. She's still in. She works. She's a nurse in New York. My dad, don't really know what my dad does so much. I don't really have a good relationship with him, so um, it's like what I don't know. Whatever he do, he do.
Why not such a good relationship with them?
uh, I think he chose it to be that way. To be honest with you, I live with him, but it was like I lived with him for like, probably like a year. But it's like it's like you stay. It's like I was staying with a stranger, so he never really got to know me. I don't really know him, and yeah, my mom just sent me over there to him when I was just like, when I was acting up or giving trouble or stuff like shit like that.
When you did live with him for a year, what age were you at the time?
For, I was probably like 11, 11, yeah,
And your parents are split.
yeah.
What age were you when they split?
It was a young age, to be honest. They was split before I was born because with that situation is my dad, he got a lot of kids. So, my brother, he was dating, he was married to my brother's mom, and my mom was his assistant. So you kind of know how that kind of went, and yeah, so that didn't really work out, and yeah, they've been split ever since I was born. They never been together.
Do you know why they split?
Um, they, I mean, they were never together for the jump. It was just like I got her pregnant type thing, and I have a wife, and it wasn't gonna work out. He was still married, so can't be with somebody that he's married with. Can't be with somebody else, and he's married. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to their footsteps or their fields of
Mhm.
work, did they want you to follow that?
My mom, she kind of wanted me to go into her field, but it wasn't really my thing, cause all my family members they either in the medical field or they doing something like regular 9 to 5, like a regular job. I didn't want to have like a regular job.
What was her reaction when you go the music route instead?
Actually, it's crazy. She actually doesn't know I actually even do music. It's crazy.
Why not?
Um, One, I haven't told her, and I don't know. I just haven't told her, and she's oblivious. She's like oblivious to it. She's just like, oh, like whatever he's doing right now at the moment. I'm just hoping he's just doing good at whatever he's doing. So I'm just waiting for her to like see me actually like on Times Square and like, okay, yeah, like this is what I do now for a living type shit.
You want it to be more or less of a surprise.
Yeah, basically like a surprise.
Why the surprise route for you?
The surprise route because she worries about me a lot, and I don't want her to think that he's doing this, he's gonna not go through with it, or he's not gonna succeed, or because the only thing she's a mom at the end of the day, so the only thing a mother wants is her child to just be good in life. Because she took the traditional route. I'm not taking the traditional route, so that's about it.
Okay, she doesn't know you do music, but what's her reaction? Well, let me back up.
Hmm.
Okay, she knows you don't do music,
Yeah,
but does she think you're doing a traditional route at this point, or she doesn't know you're doing an untraditional route?
she probably thinks I'm doing she probably thinks I'm working like a 9 to 5 right now. Probably, yeah. She probably thinks I'm working a 9 to 5 right now.
Now, in the American society, financially,
Mm.
how would you describe your upbringing?
Can you explain a little bit more on that topic?
In the American society, people
Mm.
get placed in classes:
Okay.
poor, middle class, upper middle class, rich.
Hmm.
How would you describe your upbringing? Was it a specific class for you?
Um, I'll say growing up as a child, I definitely had it hard. Um, but my mom never let me see that we like had it like that. She always made sure I had clothes on my back, I had food in my mouth, I had somewhere to rest my head. In the beginning part of it, like when I was younger, it was rough, but she got herself together. But then it kind of got a little bit hard, hence of why I went to Jamaica to live. Because there'll be like times where she'd come up to me like, hey, like, we might be out on the street this month, or next month we might be here this month, or I'm struggling to do this month, or I can't get you this because I got to do this. And so I feel like she made the decision of sending me with my grandparents in Jamaica so she can get, you can't help yourself. You can't help somebody else if you can't help yourself. So I feel as though she did what was best for me and her at that time when she sent me off to Jamaica.
Just for some additional insight, where were you born?
I was born in Brooklyn, New York.
And at what age did you go to Jamaica?
I went to Jamaica, I want to say when I was like 5. Yeah, 5 or 4.
And is it a certain part of Jamaica you went to?
Yeah, I went to the parish St. Elizabeth, and I grew up in Shrewsbury. That's the Black River County.
And how long did you live there for?
So I left Jamaica when I was probably like 11. So yeah, I was there. I was there for like a good amount of my childhood. Then preteen, I left.
And then where did you end up going to after that?
After that, I ended up staying in Brooklyn, New York, Newkirk, and I was going back and forth between New York and Florida. So I was probably like in the summertime, I'll go to Florida to go hang out with my cousins because I didn't really know my brothers and sisters that well because my dad kind of kept us a little bit separated because he had his issues why he wanted us not really to see each other like that. So I was going back and forth between New York and basically New York and Florida.
Care to share what those issues were?
Honestly, I think it was like, I guess it was divorce reasons or some shit like that. He was fighting with my brother's mom in court with custody and other bullshit and shit like that.
When you come back to Brooklyn, New York, what was the rest of your upbringing in? Was it just the constant back and forth between Brooklyn and Florida?
So I say I stayed in Brooklyn for like, it was no back and forth. When I was going to school, it was really no back and forth. I was like going to school. That's where I graduated middle school in Brooklyn. So for I say like a good of my preteen years, I was in Brooklyn, hanging out, chilling, doing regular shit. That's about it.
When you do go back to Brooklyn, does your household, are they able to move up to a higher income group? Or did it stay as described of going down where you end up going to have to go to Jamaica?
So when I got back, my mom, like, she made sure everything when I came back was good. Had an apartment, had a room for me, made sure I had, like, a laptop, clothes, new clothes when I came up there, like, shoes. She had set me up with a bank account so she could put money in my account. So when I come back from school, I could probably go to like the dollar store or go shopping or something when I'm coming from the junction and get clothes and stuff like that. But I'll say we were just barely scraping like the middle class. She just got her foot in the door with the nursing and, having a good job and getting a car and just basically doing what she needed to do then. She was just getting herself together.
And when it came to you being in Jamaica and lasting for the amount of years you did down there, was it strictly based on her just getting herself together for you when you came back?
I would say that and just making sure she was good too.
So. Okay, I didn't know if it was maybe your personal preference where you say, hey, Mom, I want to come back. And it just so ended up having to be that amount of time when you say that. I didn't know if it was one of those scenarios.
I definitely wanted to come back when I went down there to Jamaica the first time. I did not want to stay in Jamaica. But as I got older, I kind of my grandmother made me understand, like, you just got to be patient. Your mom is working things out. You just got to just stay patient, stay strong. It ain't going to be as bad as you think. And I honestly end up liking staying in Jamaica. I feel like, though, my childhood years growing up in Jamaica was pretty good.
What would you say financially wise was it down in Jamaica for you?
Jamaica's a third world country, so financially, I feel as though my grandparents, they were doing pretty good. My grandfather, he would go back and forth to the States or foreign for, people that, Jamaican, we call it foreign, we call America foreign. And he would go back and forth. He'll go work up there in he'll go like upstate New York. He'll go work on a farm. They're the workers' visa and stuff like that. He'll go work up there, come back, bring money back, and then he kind of fixed up our house. My mom also helped with that too. So our house just got, over the years, every year, it just got better and bigger and better, and so the state, growing up in Jamaica, it wasn't even as bad.
Now, I forgot how you phrased it exactly, but in the beginning of this conversation, you said at first you had it hard or rough. I can't remember which phrase you used, but you said something of that magnitude, hard or rough, and then things started getting worse, so then you moved to Jamaica.
Yeah.
But in Jamaica, how would you compare that amount of time when you were there financially compared to when you were in Brooklyn and things started going down? Was it better for you in Jamaica those years that you were there than when it was in America for you financially, or was it about the same? It was just things looked better in Jamaica because it was a third world country, so where your grandparents were at that time, things were good, relatively speaking, in that area.
I was young, so I don't really know how to really answer that question. All I know is when I understood in New York that, because my mom would explain it. She would explain it to me. She would come and tell me what was going on, the situation. My grandparents, my grandma, she was always home. My grandma never really worked. She had a shop where she sell ice. She would sell ice for $5. Keep in mind, $5 in Jamaica and $5 here is two different things. So I think the $5, if I can remember clearly, the $5 in Jamaica is a coin. So my grandmother would sell ice, and we had farmland. So we were just basically just kind of my grandfather, he had a lot of land, my uncles and all of them, we had a lot of land. So we were really just eating off the land. We would go to the market, that's Black River. We would go get food for the house, take a taxi. Black River, probably a 45-minute drive to the market. So that question, I really don't know how to really answer that, because to me, in my eyes, it was how I felt as though, all right, so then I felt as though it was probably a little bit better, because if, compared to New York, if I'm about to be living on the streets compared to, actually having a house somewhere else and actually having food every day and so I guess in Jamaica it was probably a little bit better.
Now, you did say when you did get, I think you said this, when you get back to New York, you're barely scraping middle class, but you have your own room, you have a place to stay.
Yeah.
Things of that nature.
Yeah.
When you mentioned it was hard or rough in the very beginning of this conversation, would you say that was poor at that time?
Yeah, you can say it's poor.
Okay. Now, because you were able to experience both income groups, poor and scraping middle class, what did you learn from that? What did that teach you, if anything, seeing both sides?
Definitely made me appreciate saving money. That's one thing. Not taking things for granted. Appreciating more stuff that I have, and not really stressing over materialistic things like designer and other crap like that. For me, I never grew up on that. I always see kids, wearing name brand stuff, Jordan, when I was going to middle school, Jordans, True Religion when True Religion was popping at the time. And like I never had none of that when I got back to New York. You know, my mom was still, still getting stuff together. We still didn't even have a car yet. I was still taking the bus, the train. She was still taking the train to work. She was doing a lot of stuff, but yeah, we was getting up there though. She was making sure everything was. We wasn't like going down. We was climbing up. So, yeah.
What age were you when you sought to earn money yourself for the first time?
You said saw what?
What age were you when you sought to earn money for the first time?
Shit, I think I was like start earning my own money.
Yeah.
Probably like 14. I see my cousin Drew. He really put me on game to like how to get money and stuff.
And care to share how you were getting money back then?
So when I moved to after I left New York, I left New York because I got in trouble. I got in trouble with the police in New York. I got caught stealing. And my mom was like, you know what? You need a different environment because obviously this is not for you. So they sent me down there. They felt as though since I was going to be down there with my sister and, my cousins and my uncles is down there, it'll be better for me. So, when I first initially went down there, my sister, I used to hang out with my sister a lot, and my sister used to take me over to my cousin's house. My cousin stayed in Fort Lauderdale. So my cousin, he used to trap, and he was like, yeah, I'd be making this amount of money. He was selling weed, selling lean, and I used to see him just flipping shit. So I'm like, damn, like, that crazy as felt like you getting all this for me money doing this shit. Like, I need to start doing that shit. But I never started selling or serving. I'll say about I was 15. What I was doing when I was down there, I was like poking cars with like my friends. So we was poking cars, like after school or late night. We'll poke cars, search the cars, see like if somebody got money or valuables in there. If it's something that you can go to the pawn shop and pawn it, we'll take it, go to the pawn shop, pawn it. Me and my friends, we was hitting licks. We almost hit a lick on my house. Fucking around, we didn't even realize that shit. And yeah, that's really about it. I said that, but I did that when I was like 14, 15. I had to slow down on that shit though.
Do you get a job at some point?
Yeah, I got a job at Subway.
That was your first job?
Yeah, that was my first job.
And how were you introduced to that job?
Shit. I think I was just my ex-girlfriend. My ex-girlfriend, ex-girlfriend at the time, she worked at Subway, and she was telling me it was like easy as fuck to go get a job at Subway. I had to stop poking cars and doing all of that shit because I didn't want that shit to catch up with me. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna just apply for a Subway. So I applied for a Subway, I got it, and I just started working there. I ended up being like the manager. I ended up being the manager of the fucking Subway when I was like 16.
And what was working at Subway really like?
Shit. At my store, that shit was bullshit. The pay at the time, I say it was good because I was 15, 16, so it was like, I think I was probably getting a week, I was probably getting like $300 a week. It wasn't all that. It wasn't no fancy job. People would come in there. You would see people just come in there like every day. Same people. People would be tripping about food. The Subway ain't done right or a line taking too long. And keep in mind, I'd be the only person in the store at the time because I think the lady, the owner of the store, she only hired like they call them sandwich artists. She only hired like 4. So on the weekends, she'll have 2 people work in the morning, 1 person work in the afternoon, and then like in the middle, going to night, she'll have 2 people, but then somebody will leave. So it's like she had like 1 person really working throughout the day. So everybody had their split schedules. But my manager there, she was pretty cool, and like the people at Subway it was pretty straight. It was just the owner of the store was a bitch. So she was trying to take people pay. Oh, well, she wasn't making enough money. If she wasn't making enough money for the store this week, she would try to take money out of people's checks. So really, like when I was working at Subway, I was really finessing their ass because when people would come in with cash, I'll take the cash, I'll give them the sub, and I act like I'm putting it in the register, but I'm really putting it up my sleeve, taking the cash, and I'll take cash out the register. And it's to a point where I was putting my dog onto this shit. I told my dog, come like, bruh, when I was getting paid like $300 a week, I was getting paid another $500 because I was taking money out the register. So yeah, I was making some. When I started doing that, then I started making some good money doing that shit.
And how long did you end up working at Subway for?
I ended up working at Subway for like 2.5 years. I ended up being the manager at 2 Subways, one in Hollywood Boulevard and then one Hollandale Boulevard. Yeah.
And why did things end?
Honestly, I said, fuck that shit. That shit was bullshit. I just couldn't do that shit. They wanted me to do so much work, and I wasn't doing that shit for no fucking $9 an hour. I ain't no fucking superhuman. I got to manage between 2 stores, and then I got to tell grown people that they need to do this and they need to do that. I don't got time. I don't got time for telling grown people what they need to do and all of that. So I just said, fuck that shit. So my last paycheck, I stole the last little money. I stole all the money out the register the day I quit. And I took my paycheck. I made sure I did it on a payday. I took my paycheck and I just went home. I never came back.
Now, did you end up working any other jobs after that?
Yeah, I ended up working at Domino's.
Any other places?
Domino's, Enterprise. Enterprise was bullshit. After Enterprise, I did security. And then, yeah, that's about it from there.
Security where?
I did security for Memorial West Hospital.
So you actually work for the hospital, or you work for a company and provide security to the hospital?
So I worked for a company called G4S. And they had a contract on all the memorials in Florida. So they just contracted. We're owning the contract. So we were just contract to security. So we didn't really necessarily work for the hospital.
And was that the actual chronological order? It was Subway, then Domino's, then Enterprise, then G4S?
Yeah, that's the order.
And you don't work at any of these places anymore?
Hell no.
Now let's break some of these down as well. When you were at Domino's, what was your position?
I was let's just call it CSR, a customer service representative. I'd answer the phones, and I also make pizzas. So.
And what was that job like? What was it like working at Domino's?
Domino's wasn't as bad at Subway. Domino's was pretty chill. It just, like, growing up, I started wanting more money. So, the hours I was working, I started seeing, I wasn't making as much as working at Subway because I couldn't steal from the register there. But I was probably, like, making the same amount, probably like $100 more, so $400 shit every 2 weeks. Yeah, actually, I wasn't making shit at Domino's now that I think about it. So yeah, I was making like $400 every 2 weeks. So it was just something just to buy the time. And but the only good thing about Domino's, it was any fast food place, every fast food restaurant I worked at, I never really gave a fuck like about, the food or like giving people food because it's a company, it's a corporation. At the end of the day, they're gonna make that money back either way. So when people trip about, oh, I can't give you this because my manager gonna trip and this and that, right? At the end of the day, if they want to fire you, they gonna fire you and they can replace you with somebody else. So why should they don't give a fuck about me, so why should I give a fuck about, I'm not trying to work there for the rest of my life. That's not what I'm trying to do. So honestly, if they fire me for because I'm giving people food and giving my friends food, I never really gave a fuck. So when I was working at Domino's, man, my friends was eating. my little brothers was eating. My mom, my stepmom was eating. I made sure I brought home pizza every day. Anything they want, you get it. You want some breadsticks? Got you. You want some wings? I got you. You want this pizza? I got you.
And how much time did you end up working there for?
I ended up working at Domino's for like 5 months.
And what happened? You quit or get fired?
Fuck happened. Damn. I think I quit. I never got fired. I quit because that shit was going downhill. To be honest with you, I had found out that was it the general manager or the manager? The manager, he was doing coke or some shit. He stopped coming to work, and it was just some weird shit going on. So I was like, nah, let me get the fuck out of here. And then I kind of quit too because I started serving at the time, so I was making more money serving and doing shit in the streets than fucking working at fucking Domino's.
At Enterprise, what was your position there?
At Enterprise, I was a service agent. So basically, what that is when you go to rent the cars and stuff, there's the people in the back that clean out the cars, vacuum it out, make sure it's desanitize it. We used to get some nasty ass cars, so that was our job to make sure we clean out the cars. So when the people in the front make it look like they was doing shit, they wasn't really doing shit. They just rent out the cars, whatever the case may be. We was really doing all the work, cleaning it out, making sure that when the customer get in the car, that the car look presentable, like it's like they just bought the car off the lot.
And what was that like working at Enterprise for you?
Shit was bullshit. All them niggas there was bitches, straight up. All them niggas was there was some bitches. They was just kiss asses, and I don't like working with kiss asses, cause my thing is I like people that are real and true to themselves, no matter what it is, no matter if it's a job or just anything you do, you just gotta be real. So if you just kissing somebody ass 24/7, and then you just gonna talk shit like, I don't give a fuck what he say, this and that, and then when that person come around, when the boss come around, you just like, let me get you some coffee or some shit trying to kiss his ass. I never liked that shit. It was just some fake shit working there. And I was about to fight one of them motherfuckers there too for being disrespectful. And respect is one thing that I take seriously. I don't let anybody disrespect me. I don't give a fuck how old you are. I respect you, you respect me. So I end up leaving Enterprise because one day we had a McDonald's beside a job. So I was on my break, but the people, the managers in the front, everybody that works in the front, they're managers. So I was on my break. I decided to go over across McDonald's, grab me some food, went into the break room eating. They were saying I think I was the only person at that time working, because the other service agent, he went on his break too. So I was the only person in the building. Other service agent went on his break. So they needed somebody to clean out the cars. So I said, they called me and they was like, hey, like, listen, we need somebody to clean out this car. We got these customers real quick. Can you do it really fast? And I used to make sure, I used to clean the cars off real fast and just keep it pushing, and I used to do it good. So they would call me like, hey, I need you to clean up this car real fast. So I said, man, I got like 5 more minutes left on my break. Let me finish up this food. Let me go use the bathroom. And then I'll go. I have no problem going straight to the car because I ain't doing shit. So what ended up happening in that situation is I ended up going to the bathroom. One of the managers, I guess he went across to the McDonald's, and then he came back. He seen that I was still in the bathroom, but I was using the bathroom. So he knocking on the door like, hey, bro, you still in the bathroom? This and that. He like, man, hurry the fuck up, this and that. I got cars that need to be washed. So he doing that shit while people in the lobby, so I felt disrespected. So I went up to him on some respectful shit. I said, hey, man, listen, like, don't do that again. Like, it's very disrespectful. I don't think that was cool that you did that, on some professional shit. He took offense to it. He was like, Mike, which is the hire manager, he was like, Mike was going to send you home because you taking so long in the bathroom. I told him, like, I'm using the bathroom, so I ain't going to rush myself in the bath for y'all. Like, I'm not going to rush. I'm going to finish out the bathroom, finish what I'm doing in the bathroom so I could finish out the car so I don't got to rush back into the bathroom to go use it again. I feel that's just common sense. He felt some type of way about it, so I called him a bitch because that's what he was. He was a bitch. And I told myself I was gonna go home, but they made it seem like they was sending me home. I was already in my mindset. I was already gonna go home. I told them like we could try this shit again tomorrow, because you not about to disrespect me. So that was like what? That was a Thursday. I don't work on Fridays, so I went on Friday to go pick up my check, and the other service agents was asking me like, "Yo, what happened?" That's how I was explaining the situation. Same manager that was knocking on the bathroom, talking all that shit. He seen me talking to the service agents about the situation. He came up to me and was like, "Hey, why the fuck you going around telling people the situation that happened yesterday? You mad because I made you look like a bitch in front of everybody?" So I'm just telling them what happened. He got offensive. He 36. So I'm like, at that time, I was like 18. He like, man, he's like, little boy, I'll beat your ass right now. So I said, look, if you put your hands on me, like, it's gonna go down for real. Like, I'll scuffle with your ass. Me and you the same, you the same size as me. You just a little bit taller. I don't really give a fuck because I'm really gonna go in your shit. So you're not really saying nothing. You know, people, they puff up and they do that rah-rah talk, you know, when other people trying to hold him back, thinking like he was gonna do something. He really wasn't gonna do shit. And he talked, I get off of work at 3. Well, I came and picked up my check. Well, I wasn't working, so I came and pick up my check. They got off of work at like 6. He wanted me to come back at 6 to come fight him. I'm not a dumbass. I got shit I need to do, so I'm not about to come back to work, a place that I don't even want to be in the first place, to come fight somebody. That's stupid as fuck. So I ended up leaving. I tried to report it to the higher-ups, thinking that they was going to do something or move me or try to reprimand dude or whatever the case may be. They didn't even really give a fuck. They was just like, oh, what did you do to make him mad? I was in the bathroom. What could I have done? Oh, they say that you don't come in and say good morning or good afternoon, or I'm the most respectfulest person I know to myself. I come in like I just came in. I make sure I say hello. I make sure I greet you properly. I make sure I greet everybody. I'm very respectful. So this is the fact that they trying to make it seem like I was being the one, I was the instigator in the situation. So I just said, man, fuck that shit. So that's when I already had the job at G4S. My job at Enterprise was just part-time. So I was like, you know, fuck it. I'm just go over to full-time at G4S because they paying more anyways. I might as well just bang it over there.
How long did you end up working at Enterprise for in total?
I wasted fucking 6 months of my life working at Enterprise. Enterprise is a shitty company to work for.
Now, what about G4S? What was your position there? Was it actually security or something else?
Nah, it was security. I ended up becoming the security supervisor in like 4 months. So I wasn't just like a regular security guard at that point. I was a rover security. I was a rover security. That means we patrol outside. We had them little golf carts with the little lights and shit. And I patrolled outside, and then I was a dispatch. So basically, what I would do is, if something will go down in the hospital, like a blue alert, a gray alert. Blue alert is cardiac arrest. That means a patient's having a cardiac arrest. Gray alert is a Baker Act or somebody doing a violent act in the hospital, getting hostile. So basically what I would do is I would dispatch other security guards to go handle the situation. At the end of the night, I'll write the report. I look at cameras. I look over cameras, and there's probably like 1,000. I say it's probably like around like 1,000 cameras in the hospital, probably more. So I had to watch all of those, and then I was in charge. Me and my lieutenants. My lieutenant, we was in charge of more duty. So we had to go, if a patient died in the hospital, we had to go pick up the body, bring it down, bag it up, write it in the morgue book, and then I'd have to go back to my desk, fill out the paperwork. If the funeral home called to pick up the body, I had to do the release paperwork and stuff like that.
And what was that like working at G4S?
G4S was pretty straight. It was pretty good. Honestly, I ain't really do shit there, to be honest, because when I was rover, like nobody really, COVID had hit around that time. So there was not a lot of patients and people going in and out the hospital. So there was most nights that I probably won't even get calls. So I was just on a golf cart. I'll probably rove around, like drive around the hospital like every 30 minutes, and I'll probably go upstairs to the garage, probably call my little 15 break-in and take a little nap, or I'll just take a nap throughout the whole night and just sleep.
And how much time you end up working at G4S for?
Damn.
Rough estimate.
Rough estimate? I'd say like close to a year. So like 8 months. Yeah, 8 months.
And why'd you quit that job?
I ended up getting fired. I ended up getting fired from G4S. I forgot what I got fired for. I got fired because of call-outs. I kept calling out. But I had personal shit going on at the time, so I had to keep on calling out. And it was just a lot of shit going on, so I had to call out. Sometimes I don't even really want to go to work, so I just call out like, fucking, I don't want to go to work today. So they got me for call-outs and some other bullshit they made up for being late and shit like that.
When it came to Domino's and Enterprise, those were both in Florida?
Yeah, all of those were in Florida. All my jobs that I had were in Florida. I never had a job in New York.
And for time reference, it's September 2021 now.
Mm-hmm.